but welcome to the Ecclesia number 25. I had some issues with my software because I upgraded my Safari. Actually, my laptop, the Mac OS is a new one, Sonoma, and for whatever reason, the video wasn't capturing. So I'm hoping that you guys can see me. If yes, please let me know through chat. So today, I was gonna give you kind of a summary of what's going on and what we have been doing for the last 2 weeks. This week we have started so we have there were several issues that we closed that was related to the first active set testing. And now what we're doing is redeploying it, and this has been going on for the last 3 days. We are up to now 91 miners, and all the shards are accounted for. So we're waiting for about about dozen or so miners to redeploy their servers. So we expect that to get done hopefully today, and then today or tomorrow, and then we will go through the next steps to create the magic block and then redeploy the network. I don't see any chat messages, so I'm hoping this is going through because I'm using I have redeployed the Mac, so reinstalled the OS. So hopefully you guys can view this. And the next step is basically, let me go through it actually, of what's going on. So let me look at the browser. So these are the backend issues that we currently have. There are about 30 issues. I think last week it was around 26. So it's kind of similar to what we have been averaging. But if you look at most of the cases are kind of minor. There are, Windows doesn't work and all that. So these are more on the front end side. This is a config item. This is all test items. Some of them are enhancements like process events and parallel. These are enhancements. This is also an enhancement. This we need to get it done probably this week. Again, this is on the blobber side, so it's not on the blockchain. These are tests. Bluetooth is still work in progress. And then, there are some configs, documentation. This is an enhancement. So this is for streaming. This is a fix that we need to do that's already done. It's in progress. And then, most of the stuff are basically test related, or like some of them are pretty much in review and progress. So in terms of what is done and what is left, there's basically very few things left. So let's go to the mainnet sheet. As you can see, from the app side, almost everything is done. It's basically now being the UI UX is being perfected. There are a couple of things, features that needs to be done, which is, split key, the Bluetooth, video streaming, sync for desktop, even upload folders. I believe it's done, but we haven't fully tested it yet. So we expect that to happen this week. So again, I would say most of these will be closed. So you have Bluetooth, ZeroBox 8, highly available, video streaming, sync. These are the only ones left, and these are mostly on the front end side, not on the blockchain side. So these will be closed probably this week and maybe next week. And then in terms of tests and videos and ads, these are all done. Mobile, we're now expecting mobile and desktop both to be in production by the 1st of November, which is when we also plan to launch the mainnet. So I have kind of new dates for the launch cycle. So we're going to do some testing. By the 15th, we're going to also do redeployment. So this is actually redeployment. It's not an upgrade. And then we will repeat the tests by the 17th. So we have manual and Cypress tests going on until the 15th of our current sprint. This is our internal testing. And then we will, once we redeploy on beta network, which is the active set network, we will repeat those tests. So our professional testers will repeat them. We'll also repeat Cypress test. And then if that goes well, then we will say, we are mainnet ready. There are some additional tests that we need to do. We need to make sure that this space is not growing. So all of that, we will come to the conclusion, hopefully by the 23rd, which is basically about 10 days from now, that the mainnet is ready, and we will go to the next phase, which is we're gonna launch the mainnet. And then once we launch the mainnet, we will do some testing. This is an internal launch, so this is not a public launch. Internal launch, we'll do some live testing with live tokens and make sure everything works. And once everything works, we basically will announce to the world that the mainnet is, or we will announce a countdown to November 1st. So probably around, October 28th is when we plan to announce a countdown, and that will lead up to the November 1st timeline. And November 1st, all of these apps will be ready. We expect all of them to be ready, but we'll see. So that's the plan. Now that's not set in stone because, as we're with beta network testing, with active set testing, we discovered a lot of bugs that we didn't see before, we didn't encounter, and so we hoped that everything goes smoothly. Now that we have gone through it once, the second time around it's gonna go smoothly, and we will launch the mainnet right after the tests are done. So that's the plan. Now let's go to the AMA questions. Okay. So in the competitive field of cloud storage, what methods and evidence can Zeus provide to demonstrate that its cloud storage services offer a high level of security compared to other providers in the industry? By the way, for whatever reason, I don't think you can see me while I'm looking at the other scenes. Again, that's something because I had some issues with the imaging, so I just created a new image, a source capture, which doesn't have this camera on the other side. But anyways, to answer the question is an example would be to turn off a server. So let's say if you're or give access to the server to the customer to change the data or turn it off. So if you're storing your file in multiple servers, because we fragment the file, if one server is hacked or goes down, your server is still accessible by other parties, and it is still the correct content. And that's a good way to convince people to look at the data and see if ours is functional the way it is, the way it should be. And that's the higher level of security we can present. The other thing we can present is that, we show the proxy re-encryption, the encrypted data, if they can hack it, or they can access the encrypted data somehow other than the proxy key link. So that's the another level of testing. And then immutability is what we also offer as a feature, where you can make your allocation immutable, which means you can change or delete the data that you already have. You can upload new data, but you cannot change or delete the data that you have. And that's something we can also demonstrate. There is also another feature that we have. It's called freezing allocation, which means that you cannot even upload any data to it. So that's also something we can demonstrate. So it's like a frozen in time, so to speak, the allocation. So those are some of the things we can do to demonstrate that our security is better than what's out there. The second question is, can you give examples of industries that could benefit the most with Zeus and why? So the some of the AI certainly industry is something that can benefit with our level of security because with AI data, the input determines what the output is. Your model may be perfect, but if your input data is incorrect or manipulated somehow, then your prediction for the future is going to be different from what it should be based on the correct input data. So the input data is very important, and that's something we can protect with the layer of immutability, with the layer of encryption. So there's like two levels in addition to fragmentation of data, which we already have. There are other industries, for instance, if you look at visualization of data, the user wants to visualize their data when they store the file. For instance, an architect storing a design, they want to visualize the data in its original content. How are they going to do it in S3? They can store it, but they need to then download and look at it through an application and be able to resolve it on an app that can visualize the data. Whereas we provide the visualization right off the bat with Blimp, as well as with Vault. So if you look at the visualization of data itself, we provide a better scheme, better design than what's out there today. If you look at S3 backups or S3 storage layer, the speed at which you're downloading and visualizing the data is going to be slower than what we provide. So that in terms of performance of certain S3 data, like website, today all the websites are and software too. A lot of gaming software websites, they use S3, and then they have to do some they pull the data and then they basically resolve it at their end with their servers. Whereas what we can provide is an SDK, and you would be able to do it on the browser of the user, and you don't have to resolve it on a server, on an intermediate server. So it removes one architecturally removes one server that is not needed in your architecture to provide the SaaS service. So I would say all SaaS applications can benefit from this architecture, and then some of the other ones like. For GDPR applications or any privacy applications, if you want to have a layer of protection for your data, that's something you can use. So legal SaaS applications, then there's HR applications, HR software, legal software, marketing software. They can all use what we have. Yeah, I mean, and also databases. Like if you look at database in the cloud, it's offered in the cloud, but it's very expensive because the data that is stored locally on each node. That's something we can help with, pushing that data onto S3 type server. I mean, they do back up the data on S3 server, but But having that data on our platform would be beneficial because you could reduce the cost, you could offer lower cost to your customer, which means they can spend it on something else, on other services, or increase the workload of the database. So database is also something that we can, database load is something that we can always provide. And this is database in the cloud. So if you look at a lot of databases now offer database in the cloud. So you can do the compute in the cloud, but store the data on a decentralized storage so they can pull that data whenever you need. All right. What's the next question? It's with recent redeployment efforts at Zeus, with what enhancements have been made and what are the plans for further improvements in the future? So, just to to answer the question, we have we had over 500 issues for the last 3 weeks. It's been whittled down to like 50 issues on the web apps, and then on the back end we had, I think, about 15 issues that were critical based on some of the things that we saw on ActiveSet, and we have closed them. So it's been a lot of work the last 2 3 weeks. It's probably not something that you see, but there has been a lot of work done behind the scenes to get it to a shape where we can say that we're almost close to mainnet ready. We just need to verify certain things on the beta network, a redeployment, and then if that works out, then we are a go. Then it's all basically in the go mode to mainnet. All right, last question. In May, I asked what's the worst case scenario date for mainnet, and you said July. I understand things happen, but now in October, I would like to know the current worst case scenario for mainnet. Well, we are planning for November 1st launch. The reason is because there's a conference called NFT San Francisco, NFT, I think it's NFT San Francisco, and it is in San Francisco. So this is something we're targeting. That's on November 5th, and we want to launch November 1st, and we want to go and talk to potential partners and customers on the 5th. So that's the goal. That's what we are heading toward. There are certain things we have no control over, like getting all the miners to be on at the same time, and so that we can speed up the redeployment and mainnet launch. But we expect all of them to be active for this month so that everything goes smoothly. So once we redeploy, once we test, then our plan is to go to mainnet. There is no holding back right now. We want to meet that November 1st timeline, unless something happens. So we realize there are additional bugs that we need to fix, but that's something that hopefully will not happen. All right. So that's all the questions that we have for today, and I think that's all I have for today. And I was hoping that I could show you the beta network and give you some information about the redeployment, but we are waiting for about a dozen miners to do their servers so that we can proceed to the redeployment. Hopefully that will happen between today and tomorrow, and then we get to test the apps over the weekend, do some Cypress testing, and then look forward to next week. And I'm hoping that next time when I talk to you guys in 2 weeks, it'll be setting the clock, setting the countdown, because 2 weeks it'll be 26, and we want to set the countdown probably 3 to 5 days prior to November 1st. So that's the plan. By that time, in 2 weeks, we plan to basically launch mainnet internally and do testing. So there's a lot of work to be done between now and then, but we hope we can get it done. All right. So look forward to mainnet. It's finally happening, and hope to have some good news in 2 weeks. Take care. Bye bye.